Hey guys, and welcome to a rather epic showdown between the mighty legendary warriors of Captain Morgan leading the Dowie up against Pyronado and the Tomb Kings. A fantastic name there, if I do say so myself. Should be a real good fun one, and this is actually a Dowie build I've been seeing more and more, and it's starting to become pretty meta in certain matchups. Now, I haven't seen it up against the Tomb Kings, but this style of build is really popular right now up against the Beastmen for the Dwarfs, and that is the Dowie Rush play. So, in the back here, we have a load of Slayers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Slayers dotted all the way along, including the Regiment of Renown, the Dragonback Slayers, and they're backed up by the Giant Slayers. 1, 2, 3, a little bit more elite, a little bit more hard-hitting, and also a little bit bigger, actually. So the Giant Slayers will be making up the rear here, but a very pivotal kind of element of this build is Slayers really struggle with dealing with cheap, cheerful chaff because it drags it down and is very cost-effective as it does so. So you bring a load of miners with blasting charges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the Regiment Renowned, are dotted through the front line. Now, their sole job here is to kill the enemy infantry. Burst them down, burst down Skeleton Warriors. It does not matter if you pay for yourself or not. You do that HP damage to allow the Slayers to shine. Leading this force will be Thoric Ironbrow, who unfortunately, Ungrim, though he is a Slayer, doesn't actually fit the full Slayer build very well, at least in a competitive sense, because Thoric Ironbrow's buffs are just so good. He's coming with Rune of Doom, increasing the melee attack of all these boys today, as well as Rune of Speed and Rune of Slowness. All of these work so well in this kind of Slayer style of rush play. Opposing him today is going to be a big old kitty cat. We have a Warfinks in the centre, leading the battle charge. And over on the right-hand side with those pesky skeleton chariots. And Ark in the Black, also on a chariot, which is an interesting pick here. He's coming with the Purple Sun, Soulblight, as well as Spirit Leech. So a decent set of tools, certainly. Often what you'll see in this matchup is Arkan with Spirit Leech spam, a load of chariots, and Ushopti Kite. We've got a little bit of everything with like big heavy hitters. We have the characters as well as the unit of chariots. And in the back, we do, of course, have double Ushopti, one of which is the Chosen of the Gods. Very good at clearing out infantry. For the main battle line, it is just Skeleton Warriors, as well as some Skeleton Spearmen, so going rather wide, but rather cheap at the same time, to supply these double Ushopti, as well as the War Sphinx and the Chariot. We also have a nice little hero core where we have the Casket of Souls first in the centre, and then we have a Necrotech leading the battle line, looking to heal up constructs where possible, of course, coming in the form of the War Sphinx. Now, it's very important today that the Slayers, or the Miners, don't use their blasting charges on the War Sphinx, because it'd be an absolute waste, and you can see the Dwarfs are just going to ignore it. We don't care about you. We're going to walk straight by you and attack the enemy, and the War Sphinx gets a really unlucky animation, actually. Goes after one miner in the back here, and that may, unfortunately, buy time for the Slayers to catch up here. They're sprinting forwards, axes raised, as they try to get in there. I think the Sphinx just about might be able to escape here, as more miners are being focused down. This is really good play by the Tomb Kings player, realising the threat that the miners possess, because those blasting charges will do so much work, and the Tomb Kings actually going to withdraw here and start to fall back. Really good players. It's buying more time for Arkan, as well as the War Sphinx, to try to dish out the pain here to these blasting charges. Although there was some good play, there's also a misplay here, with the Necrotech being allowed to be caught here. So he's taking a load of blasting charges. He's also bunching up a lot of these troops. And the Casket of Souls has already claimed 28 lives to add to the casket. Miners of blasting charges are going after the Necrotech now, and it does mean they'll be able to kill them very quickly, but that is a bit of a mishap, because they certainly need to be using those where possible on the enemy units. Ark in the Black does get pinned in, and this is always the problem when the Giant Slayers and Slayers are about, but he should be able to escape here. A beautiful use there of Purple Sun, as well as a Skeleton Warrior summon, and Liber Mortis should be enable him to escape and reap a bloody toll there on the Slayer units. Up to 52 kills, so not a bad day's work, but he needs to be really careful now not to be caught again. War Sphinx does some decent damage, scaring off the miners, but the Slayers are starting to push really aggressively, and the miners are finally starting to get on top of those juicy targets, the Skeleton Warriors. Though for their troubles, they're about to receive a rear attack from some rather angry Skeleton Chariots who push all the way through, but not in enough time, unfortunately, to save those Skeleton Warriors. The Dwarfs are doing a real flank overload on this left-hand side, bursting their way through, hunting down Ushopti as well as the casket itself, and you can see Thoric has popped the Rune of Doom. All of these Slayers have been turned into absolute lawnmowers. Dragonbacks up to 72 melee attack. They will carve through absolutely anything here. War Sphinx is down to 3,900 HP, which isn't too much considering the amount of Slayers around, and Arkan simply cannot get involved in the fight anymore. He kind of has to cower at the back like a bad general because of that damage he did initially take. Now, the Ushopti has still been on a pretty decent show, up to 31 kills here, And it looks like there's a Ushopti summon in the middle, trying to fight alongside the Sphinx to do as much damage as possible to the Giant Slayers and other Slayers in general. It looks like we are going to get some kind of debuff coming down. It is going to be the Purple Sun once more, reaping a bloody toll into the Slayers, who again, very, very beat up at the moment. In fact, Ark on the Black is up to 79 kills with some lovely casts there, although the Casket of Souls is getting devoured now by the axes of the Slayers. Still one Ushopti, still online. I believe the Chosen of Gods unfortunately did go down, but these guys can certainly still bring the pain to the enemy, although miners are starting to push in, and it looks like a resurgence of Slayers are driving towards Ark the Black, who so far has done a pretty good job, apart from that one time he got caught up, and he may get caught yet again here. Skeletons are trying to hold the line. You can see a lot of the Slayers are looking rather beleaguered right now as they're getting dragged down by lowly tierly skeleton warriors, which certainly isn't the Slayer way to go. However, they do manage to take down a mighty War Sphinx, which is going to crush a few of the Slayers on its way down, which is pretty funny as well. And Fork Ironbrow is so healthy at the moment. That's kind of a big problem for the Tomb King forces. Yes, they've got the majority of the Slayers to be pretty well beat up, apart from this unit on the left-hand side. And the miners aren't exactly match winners in the late game, but because of Ark and the Black being so low HP and Fork Iron Barrels being so heavy, it's going to be really, really rough for the Tomb Kings to try to pull anything from this game now. We still have the Ushopti firing some shots in. They're currently going after Fork Iron Barrels. Certainly not a bad target to try and get himself into the game. We need one more big Purple Sun, I think. The band's power getting really close to army losses right now, though we do have a lovely use of the Skeleton Warrior summon to pin in the Ekron miners and try to keep the Ushopti safe. Unfortunately, some of those slippery devils do manage to push their way through the ranks and bring their pickaxes down on the constructs, which they should probably get a bonus versus constructs considering the weapons that they do possess. The skeletons are starting to break before the tide of angry vengeance and Dowie, and Ark and the Black does fall back once more, up to 107 kills though. Liber Mortis once again is going to go down, trying to support his troops, but army losses is looking really, really close right now. The miners are blasting charges, unleashing a hell upon Arkan, who has done a good job despite getting caught early on. A nice recovery from the Tomb King player. The Ushopti Great Bows are being hacked and cleaved, and the Dragonback Slayers with the Rune of Doom on them. Yeah, that's some scary punch. Arkan goes down, the Tomb Kings falter, and the Slayer Oaths remain, well, unfulfilled to a point. Many Slayer Oaths were fulfilled, but you have to die to fulfill that. So many of these Slayers will simply have to try dying another day. Well played to both these lads. It was a super fun game between the legendary Captain Morgan and Pyronado, two members actually of our Discord. Really lovely people. If you ever see them on Quick Battles or anything, feel free to wave them a little hello, and they're always up for some really fun games. As I said before, I actually do think, though it looks very memey, this style of dwarf play has become slightly meta, not necessarily up against the Tomb Kings, but up against factions like the Beastmen, and can certainly do really good. We saw a almost full Slayer, it's kind of Slayer with miner style build, in our one build Battle Royale tournament not too long ago, and it did absolutely fantastic. Despite that though, there was some standout MVPs. I must admit, one of them was indeed Ark and the Black with those Purple Suns, getting 114 kills, 1,855 damage value. Glorious work there by the cackling undead minion of evil. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll go through the damage dealt and damage value of all of these units in just a second, but if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a fat thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to comment down below. Now, I'm going home this week between, I believe, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I will probably be streaming late Thursday. We've got a tournament on that day, but I'm going back to celebrate my birthday, so I won't be around too much on the Discord. I will be trying to have a video every single day still, so I'm trying to pre-record those in advance, so you'll still be getting a video a day, or at worst, on Thursday you won't get a video, but you will still get that glorious live stream. Speaking of live streams, if you want to get involved in them, there are links down below to my Discord, where you can submit replays to the channel, get involved in live streams, tournaments, all that good fun stuff, as well as just chill out with a load of cool people. There's also links down there to my Twitch channel where I do additional streams, probably one this Friday, and yeah, a load of other links down there as well to Patreon and all that kind of standard YouTube-y stuff. But well played once again to these guys. Let's go through the Tomb Kings first. Now, the build did definitely suffer. This was certainly a roll of the dice from Captain Morgan, and I think it paid off quite nicely. I actually don't hate this Tomb King build whatsoever. It's always fun to see Ark and the Black, and again, 1.8k damage value is really nice work. Throwing the Necrotect early on was a bit of a shame, but realistically, he was only going to heal the War Sphinx, who was not going to have a good time in this against this army composition of the Dwarfs here. Skeleton Warriors, not the most damage value. Not terrible, though, on some of them, considering how cheap they are. Like, 589 damage value is really solid. 400 damage value is absolutely fine as well. Skeleton Chariots were used nicely just to rear charge and break up the miners, but then eventually, you know, there's no more miners to kill. We have to run into Slayers, and that's not going to go well for us whatsoever. For the U-Shop T, or the Bow Shop T, 780 damage value and 1053 is not shabby. War Sphinx still got a relatively impressive 800 value, despite the fact it was surrounded by the hacking axes of the Slayers. Casket of Souls, only 400 value today. Slayers do come in that spread out formation, so it can be kind of hard to get that good connection with them, and the only really regimented dwarf units today were those miners of blasting charges. As for Cap Morgan, Thoric Ironbrow, 549 damage value. Not the most we've seen him ever get, but getting good buffs throughout the battle really does help. Minus of Blast and Charges, 95 damage value, 300, 200, 250, and 545. So not too much, but some decent kills, 57, 39, 33. But it was all about the Slayers today, and the Slayers did really well. 69 kills for this unit, 1,153 damage value, 220 damage value, 542, 548, 649, 1,730 for the first unit of Giant Slayers there, 882, and 2,410. The Giant Slayers really did claim the big scalps today, taking down the key units like the Bow Shop T, the War Sphinx, the Caskets, Archon, and that's why they got so much more value than the basic Slayers, who still did a good job applying pressure all across the battlefield. They're very fast, so it's quite hard to use U-Shop T Kite against this style of play, and I think U-Shop T Kite is one of the main ways Tomb King players attempt to counter the Dwarfs. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was super good fun. I've got to bounce now and actually do a live stream, which is really going to be fun. But you'll be seeing this after the live stream today. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.